What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Town Business. I know he did a video talking about this subject matter, talking about Steve Kerr becoming the quickest to 300 wins. And I want to talk about it myself. The article that I'm reading from is from the San Francisco Chronicle. And the author of the article is Connor Letourneau. I'm going to put a link to the article in the description box. Read from the article now. Steve Kerr knew he was inheriting an enviable situation when he took over as the Warriors head coach in May 2014. Thanks to a promising young core headlined by Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, Golden State was poised to build off a 51-win season. Still, Kerr couldn't have predicted 3 NBA titles in 4 years. With a win Saturday night over the Celtics at TD Garden, Kerr achieved yet another feat, becoming the fastest coach in any of the 4 major sports to win 300 games. I think the most important thing is that he has players who feel the same way about winning, that want the best for themselves and expect to go out there and play well every night. Forward Kevin Durant said when asked how Kerr has been able to have so much success with the Warriors. When you have the players and the coaches on the same page, we can have games like the last game. We can all point them out and see how we can get better without letting it linger and simmer for a long time. Kerr needed just 377 games to get to 300 wins. Pat Riley, who was previously the quickest NBA coach to get to 300 wins, took 416 games to reach that mark. Can't remember how many Phil Jackson needed, but it couldn't have been that many more. It couldn't have been that many more than Pat Riley. Probably 420 something, maybe. The Miami Dolphins' Don Shula is the fastest football coach, needing 442 games to get 300 wins. Bruce Boudreau of the Washington Capitals and Anaheim Ducks, the quickest National Hockey League coach to notch that feat, required 496 games. And the Major League Baseball leader, the Chicago Cubs, Frank Chance, needed 426 games to get 300 wins. Until Saturday, Alvin Adams was the fastest Warriors coach to tally 300 victories, doing so in 526 games. Of course, Al Adams was the coach of the 1975 Golden State Warriors team that upset the 60-win Washington Bullets in the finals. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Warriors swept the Bullets 4-0. It was one of the biggest upsets in the history of the NBA. And I get really irritated when people just say that the Cavaliers in 2016 had the greatest upset. I mean, I guess you could say that, but, you know, there have been other upsets. You know, the Rockets were the 6th seed in 1995, even though they were defending NBA champions. They were the 6th seed, and they upsetted the number 1 seed, 57-win Orlando Magic team that year. And, of course, the Washington Bullets in 1975, they were a better team that year than the year they actually won it. I think the year they won it, they only won like 44 games. But in 1975, they won 60 games. They were the number 1 seed, I believe, in the across the NBA. And I think the Warriors, I think they only won 48 games, I think it was. I think they only won 48 games in the regular season. But they swept the Bullets. And anyway, Steve Kerr says, I know how lucky I am. He said that back when he reached 200 wins back in March of 2017. Coaching is all about the guys you coach. Are they coachable? Are they talented? Both of those are yes. And when talking about Steve Kerr, this is how I feel, man. I know some people think that Phil Jackson is overrated. I don't think so. Is Phil Jackson the greatest coach of all time? It depends on what you're looking at. Some people think of, strategic, strategy, X's and O's. When it comes to when it comes to that, you can make a strong argument for people like Larry Brown. In fact, Larry Brown in 2004 outcoached Phil Jackson. When you actually go talent for talent, the 2004 Lakers were a more talented team on paper than the 2004 Pistons. But Larry Brown had that Piston team playing on all cylinders, playing totally as a team, as opposed to a Lakers team that got to the finals despite injuries, despite not playing together at times as a team, despite that year Kobe playing more Comey than he had previously. That team still made it to the finals, but they got exposed by that Pistons team. And Larry Brown, to me, is probably the greatest X's and O's coach of his generation. But Phil Jackson is the most successful coach in the history of the NBA. 11 NBA championships. But there are some people, he has his detractors. There are some people who say, well, Phil Jackson, look, if you got Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen on your team, if you got Kobe and Dennis Rodman, and Horace Grant, and if you got Kobe Bryant and, Shaquille O'Neal, Glenn Rice, you should be winning championships. Or Pau Gasol, or Andrew Bynum, Metta World Peace, Kobe Bryant, the later teams. Then you should be winning some championships. I mean, look, I get what you're saying, but every great coach has to have some talent. Okay, I don't remember any NBA championships being won by a coach who had nothing but Brian Scalabrinis and, just a bunch of Brian Scalabrinis and Kwame Browns and Smush Parkers on the team. I know Brian Scalabrine, I know the whole thing, but it's funny because he wasn't good. You see what I'm saying? Now look, I'm the first one to tell you, I don't think it's fair with the Warriors sometimes. I mean, they have too much talent. Okay? But look, maybe it's me getting to taste my own medicine because I was I'm a Bulls fan. I was a Bulls fan, back in the late 80s and shit. And I remember so many people that were Knicks fans and Cavaliers fans telling me, it's not fair. You guys already got Michael Jordan. Now you guys got Scottie Pippen coming into his own. Best all-around player in the NBA, some people feel. Now you guys got the greatest rebound. How the fuck are we going to beat that? And I used to be like, hey, it ain't our fault we got them. So, Warriors fans feel like, hey, well, it ain't our fault we got an all-star squad. Learn how to beat them. But the point is, with Phil Jackson, still, you can have all talent in the world, but if you're not a great coach, if you can't get guys to gel together as a club, if you can't get guys to play, to put aside their egos, because coaching isn't all about just being coaching on the court. Some of it comes to other areas and aspects, not just, X's and O's, strategy, and actual game, but it also comes to mentoring. And in some ways, I hate to even say it like this, but especially with younger players, even parenting, guiding. If there's somebody on the team that you do not like, someone you have problems coexisting with, learning how to play with this individual, despite whatever personal feelings and whatever you have. You know what I'm saying? Even learning how to be making different changes in your own life to make you a better basketball player. Those are the types of things that Phil Jackson would do. He would go deeper than just coaching. And Steve Kerr may not be the greatest pure coach, but I'm pretty sure some of the things that he saw that Phil Jackson do rubbed off on him. And that's why some of the best coaches were role players. Now, the problem with a guy like Luke Walton is he's just not a good coach. And also, I think Luke Walton is too close to the generation of players who remember him as a player. You know, it's hard to be respected as a coach when you were a bum when LeBron and some of these other guys were still playing. They remember you. You were a scrub. Now, with Steve Kerr, he was a role player. But, you know, people remember him as 5-time NBA champion Steve Kerr, all-time three-point percentage leader. Steve Kerr and them grew up watching him on Chicago Bull Championship Series tapes. Okay? They don't remember him riding the pine and not being good enough to start, what have you. Okay? So that's my thing about Steve Kerr, man. He has a 796 win percentage. Is number one all time by far. Okay, he's going to probably remain as long, especially if he stays with the Warriors. He's going to be the winningest coach, percentage-wise. I'm not sure how long he's going to coach. I don't know if this is a guy that's going to coach 20 plus years. You know what I'm saying? Is Steve Kerr the greatest coach of all time? In my opinion, no. But in the span of time that he's coached, like as far as to start your career off, he's possibly the most successful coach in a 5-year span. Especially if they win a championship this year, he'll be the most successful coach I can think of. Because that would mean that in the first 5 years of your coaching career, you won the championship 4 times. That's unparalleled. The only guys that are even in that conversation that I can think off the top of my head would be a Pat Riley. I'm talking about like the first 5 years of your coaching career. Would be a Pat Riley or maybe Phil Jackson or even a Casey Jones from the 80s. Now, I wouldn't put Red Auerbach in that conversation because Red Auerbach was coaching before he started coaching the Celtics. Matter of fact, I think he coached the Washington Capitals first. I can't remember that verbatim, but anyway, congrats to Steve Kerr, man. And even though I hate your team, I love you, man. Hey, man, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have won those championships. Okay? So, congratulations.